From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review.
This is not what I got into this hobby for. I got into the hobby to put myself out into the world, to meet people, unencumbered by ethanol or THC. I got into the hobby to be in rooms with the hum and buzz of interactions. I got into it for the ribbing and the quips, the arguments and disagreements. I got into it for all the messy interactions. I got into gaming for the people. I didn't get into it to lock myself away and fiddle with pieces and be constantly slapped around the mush by my own ineptitude. That's the thing with motivations, though. They're not static. They aren't immutable. They are dynamic and changeable. Just as there is no core to our being, our motivations, our obsessions shift and change like sand dunes, and give it a good gust of wind, and you're in a completely different part of the desert. What I thought I was into games for has changed. Well, that's not strictly true. That original motivation is still there. I've just stuck other motivations onto it, other reasons to play, and I can pick from a myriad of motivations now, one to suit every mood, from the glumly solipsistic to the rambunctiously gregarious. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I can now find any excuse to play a game. Playing games can be for the games themselves, for the sheer appreciation of the art form. I can play games that tell stories and promote unadulterated human interaction, but I can also play games for the sheer joy of manipulating them as machines. Playing a game is tinkering with a machine, a self-study course in extremely niche engineering. And the wonderful thing about games is that if you stick your spanner in the wrong place or loosen the wrong nut, the engine doesn't blow up, covering you in coal dust. You just put the pieces back, start the engine again, and hopefully the thing runs better this time. I'd eschewed solo games, basically for the work of the whole thing. You have to get the stuff out, sort it into piles, shuffle the cards, arrange your player board, and after all that, all you have to wrestle with is the realization that you were never any good at these bloody things to begin with. Frankly, it all seems like a lot of work, and I'm nothing if not congenitally indolent. Under Falling Skies, though, that got me going when I first saw it. It seemed, from my crude vantage point, to be a game that could inject some of the emotional heft that a computer game can give to the solitary player. The previous sentence was just a cumbersome way of saying it looked cool. It was aliens and all that. I wanted to fight the aliens, and I thought that Under Falling Skies might be able to enable me to do it in an entertaining way. I wasn't wrong. In Under Falling Skies, players take on the role of a leader of a battalion of humanity seeking to halt the cannonade of a brutal alien attack. This is done by rolling dice and assigning them to spaces that do things like shoot them out of the sky, provide the energy you need to power your exploits, deploy robots that certainly won't achieve sentience, and wear your skin like a suit after the battle is over, and research the flaws and foibles of the Greys so you can destroy the mothership and win the game. If you sustain enough damage, though, or the mothership encroaches onto your airspace, you lose, and the aliens usher in a new age of rule that's got to be worse because, we're doing such a good job at the moment. This is the key to Under Falling Skies for me. In fact, I think it might be the key to all of my solo play in the future. The arid quest for higher and higher scores leaves me wizened. Under Falling Skies, even in a single non-campaign game, provides you with a concrete goal, a well-defined target to aim at. Dare I say it, it tells a story that distracts me from the fact that I'm alone in my kitchen moving little plastic bits around. Solo games for me should offer something unique in themselves, not a crude facsimile of the multiplayer experience. And Under Falling Skies does this. Stylistically, Under Falling Skies does this wonderfully. Sitting in your seat in the kitchen, you are pitched into a world where alien ships swarm like flies, a world where despite your best efforts, your base is constantly bombarded and your will is constantly shaken. And above all this, the mothership hovers in all of its huge malevolence, ready to crush your puny resistance. And you get all of this just meters away from the stuff you need to make a cup of tea. That's not to say that Under Falling Skies is just a box of ephemeral narrative, though. There is a real game here, with real decisions. The decision on where to place the dice is a wonderful tug-of-war of asset and liability. Placing dice makes the ships descend, and weighing up whether to allow that ship to get too close because this action would be really great right now is where the heart of this game is. Do I just take the hit for the benefit that it will give me? There is so much give and take here, and every placement is replete with it. Great and tense gameplay never lets you do everything you want to, and Under Falling Skies is tooled in such a way that you agonize and re-agonize every time you place a die on the board. Using dice for this is so clever too. The combination of planning and chance is such a great thematic analogue for the action on the board. Sometimes fate is with you, everything falls into place. And sometimes, in spite of your best efforts, it's never quite enough. Without the ever-present threat of failure, these games become activities. This is never the case with Under Falling Skies. The campaign is very cautious in its storytelling, and I think this is right. Simple images imply story, rather than reams and reams of poorly written prose. Each scenario also introduces a different rule for that scenario. This gives the game loads of variety, but unlike a lot of legacy games, doesn't bog the game down with an endless accrual of rules. The slate is cleaned, and just one new thing is added, and this is efficient and exciting level design. Also, there is no reason why you couldn't play one-off games with these scenarios built in. There is life in this box, past the campaign, and if you have a cheeky half an hour to do nothing with, there are a lot of worse things to do than throw Under Falling Skies on the table. I think Under Falling Skies would be great for the non-solo inclined because it's easy to set up and offers you solid goals and well thought out design, and that supports you in achieving those goals. And if you fail, it doesn't take all the time in the world to set up again and try your hand a second time. Being in a situation where I have only myself for company is a piquant hell, and those who've ever met me can attest to that. But with a game as engrossing and entertaining as Under Falling Skies, I might be able to find myself bearable. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and all of that, and if you think this is useful, you can support me at patreon.com/5G4D.